Hello everyone. I'm glad to see you on my channel. The story I'm going to tell you today is pure. It is true that all the bad things that happen in life happen for a reason. It is said that we can appreciate the good things, the things when they happen to us. I hope you enjoy this story. I wish you a pleasant viewing experience.
Hi, are you coming or not? She called him on the phone. I told you no, he replied sharply. You could hear that the man was annoyed. Why? She started crying. You still have not realized that, between us, everything is over. In his voice, there was not a single drop of sympathy. And what about debts, credits? She asked, because she realized that she could not cope alone. Those are your problems, he said. Why mine? She couldn't understand. I've said everything. He didn't want to say. Please don't hang up, she begged him. I don't want to talk to you, he was calm. If you do, you'll never see your child again. She tried to manipulate that. Ha ha ha, you made me laugh. He laughed into the phone. What? You don't care about that either. It was completely incomprehensible to the woman how a person could be so heartless. I repeat for the 1,001st time, I do not want to communicate neither with you, nor with the child. If when he grows up, he wants to communicate with me, then please. Otherwise, live and be happy. Now it was clear that the man does not care about anything. Neither the child, nor money, nor she herself will not stop him. Goodbye, she said. Bye, he hung up. Sam and Anna met in Turkey. She was going through a divorce. Her husband was not the man she wanted, the man she dreamed of. They had no children, so the couple divorced quickly. Then Anna was even happy about this circumstance, because in recent years everything was not like this. She really wanted to part with the man, but he loved her and did not leave. One day, she came home from work. Her husband was sitting in the kitchen. And when she went there, he didn't look her in the eyes. Only after she asked him what was wrong, he told her that he had met someone else and had to leave. At that moment, Anna made sad eyes, but in her heart, everything was jubilant. When they received a certificate of dissolution of marriage, she immediately went to a travel agency and bought herself a trip to Turkey. How good it is here! The girl went out on the balcony in the morning. She looked at the sea and knew that in a few minutes she would be there. That day, she took a cocktail and lay down on the sunbed. Could you help me? She heard a man's voice. Yes, she lifted the hat that covered her face. Please put some cream on my back, stood in front of her, a handsome, swarthy man. Is there no one else to help? She smiled. I'm sorry if I'm stressing you out so much, he shrugged and wanted to move away. Come on, I'm kidding. She took the cream from his hands. Sorry about that, he turned his back to her. Wow, that's a lot of muscle, she creamed him. 4 workouts a week, the young man admitted to her. My name is Anna, what's yours? She started talking cheerfully to him. Sam, he turned to her. Very nice, the girl surprised herself. Usually she never entered into conversations first, never got acquainted with men. But here, she didn't know why, she started to get acquainted. Thank you. The young man took the cream from her hands. You're welcome, she smiled again. Then she took her place on the sunbed again and covered her face with a hat. The sun was shining. It was very nice. Anna, excuse me, she heard the same voice again. It had only been about 15 minutes since they had last talked. Yes, she brushed the hat off her face. Would you like a refreshing drink? He looked at her glass, where the cocktail was already finished. Thank you. I wouldn't say no. She realized that the young man was starting to flirt with her. The girl rolled over onto her stomach and watched as he went to the bar. Saw the bartender making cocktails, and Sam walked back to her. I don't know which one you like. I picked my own. He handed her a glass. You know, this is good, don't you think? She sipped the liquid from the chew. The coolness felt in her mouth. Yes, he looked away. Are you here alone? Anna had wanted to ask him that a long time ago, when she'd smeared cream on him, but she'd been too shy to ask. But now, since he had already started paying attention, it was necessary to know for sure. Yes, he looked at her. And I'm alone too. She didn't mean anything by it. At the moment, the girl was thinking not about relationships, not about men, but just about taking a break from everything she had in her past life. "Why don't we go out on the town tomorrow?" Sam suggested it. "Well, if you're inviting me, I guess I'll agree." Anna didn't understand herself because she kept smiling and averting her eyes. I guess it's a woman's nature, of that the girl was sure. "It's lunchtime, let's go," gave Anna a hand to a new acquaintance. "Let's go." She emphasized the last syllable, making it clear that now they addressed each other on the first name. "Good." He understood her hint. "I called you for lunch, and I did not even specify in which hotel she stayed. And you think because we're on the same beach, we're in different hotels?" She laughed. "Sometimes I go a little to the left, right along the shore, and there is soft sand. The water is cleaner." He showed her where he goes. Yes, everywhere is good where we are not," she smiled again. They were really vacationing in the same hotel. When they came to the territory, most people were already sitting at tables in the restaurant. "Into the shade," Sam suggested to her. "Let's go," she agreed. The young man and the girl walked over to where the awning stood. They sat down at a table, left their things there, and then went and got their plates and began to choose what they wanted for lunch today. "How long have you been here?" "I'm sorry, have you been here long?" He corrected himself. "Second day," she said. "And I've been here practically a week," he admitted. "If it's no secret, why did you come here alone?" asked the girl. Now she didn't care. They were from different cities. In a few days he would leave here, and they would never meet again. "Why are you asking this question?" The young man was depressed. Anna noticed it immediately. "Just wondering." She turned in the direction where the sea was. It became somehow uncomfortable. "A month ago I had a girlfriend. We were getting ready to get married," he began to tell her. Anna saw that he had put the instruments aside. "If it's hard for you to tell it, you don't have to tell it," she snapped back immediately. "No, I think someone needs to talk." He looked up at her. "Okay, then I'm listening," she agreed. "I proposed to her. I bought a ring. We went to my parents' house. Everything was as it should be. I don't know what happened, but 2 weeks before we were supposed to get married, she came to see me and told me she could marry me." He sighed, took a glass, and drank some water. "Why didn't you check with her?" Anna had heard that such stories happen, but she didn't think that a girl could refuse to get married like that. Usually young people did it. "I asked her, begged her to explain, but not only did she refuse to marry me, she said she wouldn't see me again." Sam turned away. Anna thought he was ready to cry. "Well, nothing. Things will get better." She put her hand on his. "Yeah, I feel a little better." He pulled his hand out from under the girl's arm and put it on top of hers. "Don't," she pulled it away. With her gesture, Anna just wanted to show support, and what he meant, she didn't know. "Okay, enough about me." He seemed to come to his senses. "Why are you here alone?" "I'm celebrating my divorce," she said cheerfully. "You mean you and I have 2 identical stories? I was dumped by a girl, you divorced your husband, but if I suffer, you rejoice, right?" he concluded. "You are absolutely right." She took a glass that stood on the table, and even though there was water in it, but the girl raised it as a toast. The whole day the couple spent together, they talked about everything. Apparently Sam, as well as Anna, thought that here in another country, next to a man who lives in a completely different city, you can talk about everything. "Well, see you all later." He walked her back to her room today. "Okay." She walked into the room, held onto the doorknob, and looked at him so much that it sent shivers down Sam's spine. The next day he was waiting for her at the front desk of the hotel. Anna came out of the elevator. She was wearing a long white dress and the same hat with big brim. "Hi." Sam walked up to her. He was looking at the girl, and he definitely liked her. "Hello," they hugged a little. "You're so beautiful," he told her, and they headed for the exit. "You embarrass me," Anna admitted to him. "You see, I loved my girlfriend so much. We were together for many years. I dreamed of proposing to her, and I did. And when she left me, I was so crushed. I thought I would never love anyone again. I couldn't even look at the other girls. They were walking to the bus together." Sam talked but didn't turn to her. "Why are you telling me this now?" She guessed to herself what the young man wanted to tell her. "Yesterday at the beach, I really couldn't use the cream. I didn't approach you on purpose. Before that, I didn't think about it. But when my shoulders started to hurt, I realized that I couldn't do without cream." He jumped to another topic. They'd reached the bus, now standing there. Turned around, either couples or men. "Well, you can imagine what it would look like if I had a man rubbing my back, so I came over to you." He continued his theme, and as if excused himself. "Okay, bygones," Anna smiled. They went into the bus, sat down next to each other. "You see, yesterday, when you and I were walking and talking, I realized that I haven't lost interest in girls." He took her hand in his, started to look at her manicure. "Sam, don't do that," Anna asked him and pulled her hand away. "Okay, if you don't want me to, I won't do it." He put his hands on his knees and started looking forward. Anna, on the other hand, looked out the window and wondered how much you could trust a man at a resort. On the one hand, he's handsome, but on the other hand, he's probably doing all this to seduce her, and nothing more. And the story that the girl left him, maybe to make him feel sorry for her. The girl shook her head and continued to listen to the guide. "I liked it," Anna said when they got back. "It was okay." So, it was obvious that Sam was not the first time in this country. "If you didn't want to go, why did you invite me?" she asked him. "I just wanted to spend time with you." He walked very close. "Good." They reached the elevator. "Where are we meeting tonight?" he asked. "Shall we go to the beach?" the girl suggested him. "Okay," agreed the one. Half an hour later, she was ready and was waiting for him downstairs. After he came down, they headed to where it was very nice. The rest of the days before he left, Sam never left Anna's side. He complimented her, told her stories. The girl liked it all very much. "I'm leaving tonight," Sam told her. "Too bad. It was nice talking to you," Anna told him. "I hope we won't stop talking." He looked at her with surprised eyes. "Of course not. You have my phone number, my mail. Please write whenever you want." Today, all day long, they did not leave each other's side. Anna couldn't tell what her feelings were for this man. Yes, she liked him outwardly, and as it seemed to her during this time. As a man, he was also good. But here she still wouldn't give vent to her feelings or her desires because she was afraid that he was just divorcing her. When Sam's bus arrived, they walked down to the hotel together, and now Anna gave him her first real hug. "Bye." She looked into his eyes. "Bye." Sam was hesitant at first, but then he pulled her against him and kissed her cheek. "Right," she said and waved him off. Anne had a couple more days to rest, and then she too would be leaving for her home. The girl waited for him to write to her, but Sam was silent. Thus, he let Anna know that she was right in her suspicions. 2 weeks after the vacation, when she was at work, a message came to her phone. She opened it and saw that it was him. The young man wished her a good morning. "Hi," she texted him. "Sorry, it took me so long to write. I just didn't have time. I was sorting out my problems," he answered her. "Yes, I had things to do too." He had to text her because she didn't want to say that she was waiting for his call. "Can we get together?" he asked. How do you imagine it? There was a distance of many kilometers between their cities. "On weekends I can come," he offered options. "If it will be convenient for you, come, I'll show you our city." She was pleased to communicate with this man. "Well, write the address. Saturday morning I will be," he promised. Anna wrote in a reply message all that he asked her. After that, the young people said goodbye, the working day continued. There was enough time before the weekend to get ready. Anna did a general cleaning of the house, bought herself a new dress, went to the salon, had a haircut. "Girlfriend, I don't recognize you. Are you in love again?" Natalie looked at her. "You know, I did not tell anyone this, but on vacation I met a young man. His name is Sam. On Saturday, he comes to visit me. They sat in the evening at her house. Don't you know how resort Sam's end?" Was surprised by her friend because she knew Anna. She had always been modest and never gave any reason to think ill of herself. "I also thought so at first, when he hit on me and said compliments, but now he will come and everything will become clear," Anna was sure. "Why he's coming to you and not you to him? Haven't you thought about it?" A friend was checking Anna. "Listen, what difference who goes to whom there? On vacation was one thing, now a simple life. It will immediately become clear whether he is a good man or not." Anna wanted to talk about something else, but the friend led the topic in another direction. "Okay, it's up to you. You'll tell me later," Natalie laughed. After that they talked about a lot of things, and the girl went home. It was Friday night, so Anna was a little worried that Sam would be arriving tomorrow. Early in the morning, while she was still asleep, the doorbell rang. Anna opened her eyes. Everything inside was shaking with excitement. She went to the door, opened it, was in one simple robe. Hair not styled, eyes not put on makeup. The girl opened the door. Behind them stood the man they had last seen in another country. "You weren't expecting," he guessed, because it was still early morning. Sam had done it on purpose to be with the girl longer. "Come in." She opened the door wider. He stepped into the hallway and they hugged. While Anna got ready, washed up and made breakfast, he watched her. "I'm sorry, I didn't greet you with bread and salt," she turned to him. "What are you talking about? It's okay." He didn't want to embarrass the girl. After she was ready, they packed up and went outside. "So unusual," she laughed in the yard. "What are you doing?" He couldn't understand what was wrong with the girl. "It's 10 o'clock in the morning, and you and I went for a walk," she explained to him the reason for her laughter. "So, what difference did it make what time to go out for a walk?" Sam shrugged. They walked along the main street. Anna told him what was here, since it was Sam's first time in this city. After that they went to a small cafe, because it was already lunchtime. They had a snack there and afterward they went to the museum. Sam thought it would be boring, but as it turned out, he even liked it. In the evening they returned home. On the way they went to the store, bought groceries and wine. Anna prepared a light dinner. Sam opened a bottle. The girl put the chicken and potatoes in the oven, said she'd be right back, and went to the bathroom. She stood in front of the mirror and wondered if he was going to stay over tonight. It was unusual because their relationship was not yet a relationship, and she had the same bed. Anna came back to the kitchen and saw that there were plates on the table and wine in the glasses. He took a glass from the table and handed it to her. Anna took a sip and looked at the young man. "Sam, this will certainly be indelicate, but I have to ask you," she mewed. "Go ahead," he waited. "Will you stay at my place tonight too?" At this point she blushed. "You know," he circled the kitchen with his eyes and was silent, and I did not even think about it. This answer caused Anna's mind to think even more. She began to think about the fact that he purposely didn't think about it so he could stay the night with her. "I certainly don't mind," sat down in Anna's chair, "but I only have one sleeping place." With this statement, she hinted to him that they would definitely not sleep together. "If you put me on the floor, I can fall asleep even here," he pointed at his feet. "Okay, we'll figure it out." Anna found out that he was indeed staying at her place. Dinner went fine. They talked again, but all the talk boiled down to how they vacationed in Turkey and how they spent the day today. "Tell me about yourself." She put her elbows on the table and rested her head on her hands. "There's not much to tell. I was born in a small town. I left there a long time ago. I rented an apartment, worked. You already know about the girl. He lowered his eyes. Why are you talking about everything in the past tense? She didn't understand. Anna, the fact that I liked you, you already know, and I did not write to you these few weeks because I wrote an application for dismissal. I was working my ass off. I didn't want to scare you off, but I moved out of my apartment. I quit my job. I came to your city, and I think there will be a job and a place for me here. I'll rent, believe me. He was very emotional, but Anna sat looking at him with big eyes. Where are your things? He came to her without everything. At the station, in the luggage room, the girl was speechless. She just sat and was silent. All right, she finally answered. You do not think anything. Tomorrow I will rent an apartment and start looking for a job. He took her hand in his. Don't. As always, she pulled it away. When it was time to go to bed, she pulled out of the closet the air mattress they'd gone to the lake with over the summer. Sam inflated it and made it very comfortable in the same room where the girls slept. In the morning, they looked at the apartment ads in town together. There were a lot of them, and some of the options were very even budget. Will you come with me? Sam asked her, when they had already agreed with another landlady. If you don't mind, I'm ready. The girl smiled. They went outside, reached the bus stop, and got on the bus, drove off. At the place were in a few minutes. The apartment was one room with furniture. Everything was cozy. I like it, Sam said. Me too, Anna agreed. He paid for 2 months in advance and suggested that the girl go to the train station. The things were indeed there, 2 small bags. That's all I managed to accumulate, he laughed, showing them to Anna. Yes, I imagine, if I went to your city and decided to take my things, I would have to go back and forth more than once, she laughed too. They drove back to the apartment Sam had rented to put his stuff away. Shall we go out to eat? Sam asked her. Why don't we go to the same cafe we went to yesterday? Anna suggested it. There we went. The day passed on a positive note. In the evening, Sam went home. He had to go to work on Monday. Anna walked there in high spirits. She knew that now in this city, she had not only a friend, but also a friend. Natalie, hi, she called her friend. Hi, so how's the friend? She asked first thing. Would you like to have lunch with her today? Anna suggested it. Yes, Natalie said. She was curious to see who Sam was. When they met at lunchtime and went to the nearest fast food place, Anna told her everything. How they'd spent the first night, how they'd rented an apartment for him, and that he was now looking for a job. Nothing. How abrupt he was, Natalie said, wondering how a man could decide and change things so quickly. I don't know. If I had the opportunity, maybe I would have changed something, Anna said thoughtfully. Oh, my friend, you're completely out of your mind after the divorce. Natalie twisted her finger at her temple. Well, we'll see what happens next. Anna didn't even want to remember about her divorce. But do you like him at least? Her friend smiled. I'm afraid to admit it to myself, Anna answered honestly. Why? Natalie didn't understand her. I still have a feeling inside that he wants to deceive me, she confessed honestly. Oh, so you were thinking about it after all, her friend wagged her finger. Of course, they laughed together. After lunch, Sam wrote to say that he had called 3 institutions and would have his first interview today. I wish you luck, Anna replied to him. Hope to meet you tonight, the young man wrote. Anna wasn't against it. She would have offered to meet him herself, but since he did it first, she agreed. Anna had nothing else on her mind right now. Only Sam was on her mind. He came every night, brought some gifts, flowers, said beautiful words. After a month, she gave up. When Sam walked her to the front door, she suggested he come over. He had been in this apartment more than once, so he knew everything about it. They went into the kitchen. The girl went to the stove and put the kettle on. At that moment, Sam came up behind her, put his arm around her waist, and kissed her neck. What are you doing? She turned to him. I really like you, he told her. I like you too, she answered. When 2 months passed, for which Sam paid, he offered the girl not to waste any more money in vain and move in together. Even if your apartment is small, but we have enough space, he told her. Of course, she had wanted to live with him for a long time. Sam had moved his things in, and now they were practically a family. The young man had a few part-time jobs. Somewhere he'd go out to unload something. Somewhere he'd fix something for someone. He had no one in this town except Anna. He decided to be mature and proposed to her. For 6 months, Sam worked wherever he could. He saved his money, didn't spend it anywhere, bought a ring. She came home that night, saw the table set, was surprised. "Are we having some kind of party tonight?" she asked her boyfriend. "Yes," he told her. "What kind?" She put down her bag, took off her shoes, and went into the kitchen. "Anna, I think it's time." He pulled out a ring. Sam, her eyes lit up with happiness. "I love you." He put the ring on her finger. "I do." She looked up at him. That evening they talked about their upcoming wedding. "Do you know what I was thinking?" Anna looked at her chosen one. "No," he answered her. "And let's not spend on a dress or a restaurant or anything else, and let's go to the place where we met you. We'll celebrate our union there," the girl told him. "That's a great idea," Sam said aloud, and in his mind he began to think about where he could get the money. But Anna didn't let him think about it. She said something else. The next day they filed the application in the registry office, and after that they went to make out the vouchers. Everything was done quickly, and 2 weeks later they had a regular wedding. Now they just had to wait for the fact that in a few days they would fly to a warm country, to the gentle sea and white sand. "Have you ever dreamed of living abroad?" Sam asked her then. "I hadn't thought about it," Anna answered after some silence. They checked into the same hotel where she had rubbed some cream on her boyfriend's back the first time. "This room is not like the one I lived in then." She entered the large room that was intended for the newlyweds. "Don't compare. You were alone then. Why did you need so much space?" He put his arm around her and led her to the bed. Those were dreamy days. They lounged on the beach, swam in the sea. Everything was wonderful. They came home refreshed and tanned. "Sam, I'll probably call Natalie and spend tonight with her," Anna said to her husband when they returned. "Yeah, sure. I don't mind," he replied and lay down on the couch. Anna called her friend and went to see her. "So, how are things going there with your lout?" her friend asked her. "Why do you call him that? He's very nice," Anna told her. She had wanted to introduce her husband and her friend to each other many times, but she couldn't do it because Natalie didn't want to get along with him. They sat up until almost midnight, and then the girl went home. When she arrived, Sam was already asleep. She lay down next to him and fell asleep. She didn't feel like going to work. She woke up in the morning. "Well, everyone's working." Sam got out of bed too. "Not everyone," she winked at him. "Anna, stop giving me a hard time about this," he said. He was offended when the girl insinuated to him that he wasn't working. They had breakfast and the girl went to work. She was getting a good salary, so for now they had enough for everything. But family life is quite different. It was necessary to buy a lot of things for the house. Anna began to realize that her earnings would not be enough for everything. "Sam, you at least try." She opened him another job ad. "I know everything without you. I'll figure it out on my own." Lately he was looking for options on how to earn from home. "I do not understand. You can get a job and do it in parallel," she advised him. "Anna, you work, so work, and I'll sort it out myself." He did not want to argue. "And while you sort it out, our loans will accumulate. There will be so many of them that it will be impossible to repay them later." She looked at the world with different eyes. Now she understood what Natalie was telling her, but she didn't want to admit it. They were sitting in the kitchen. Sam had made scrambled eggs and was putting them on plates. "You?" Anna grimaced. "What are you doing?" He wondered, because she loved the dish so much. "It doesn't smell good at all," The girl pushed the plate away from her. I don't know. He brought it over, sniffed it. I probably won't have breakfast, she said, drank a glass of water, and went to work. No matter how much she walked, no matter where she went, there seemed to be foul odors everywhere. The woman on the bus smelled of good perfume, but to Anna it smelled as if she had smeared herself in something unpleasant. The conductor walked by, smelling of fish. Anna tried not to think about it, because it was very unpleasant. When she finally got off the bus, she felt very nauseous. "Ugh, Casey, what are you eating?" She walked into the office. "Anna, what's wrong with you?" The woman looked at the container that contained the bread and cheese. "I can't. I smell bad everywhere today," she said, sitting down at the table. There was a flower pot at the back. She pushed it away because the smell was coming from there too. "My dear, so you must be pregnant," her older colleague told her. "What?" Anna froze. She couldn't even think about it because so little time had passed. "I assure you, when I was expecting my first child, I ate nothing at all. I lost 9 pounds. The woman smiled and put her container away. In the evening, Anna went to the pharmacy, bought a test. She didn't tell Sam anything yet. First thing in the morning, she went to the bathroom. When a plus appeared on the plastic strip, she pressed it to her chest. The apartment stank insanely again. The girl tried to breathe through the time. She went to the kitchen and opened the window. "Please don't cook any more eggs," she asked her husband. "Okay," he turned to her. "I thought yesterday was just your whimsy. Don't fry these eggs again while I am expecting a baby." She put the test on the table. "What?" Just as she did, the young man reacted. "You're not glad?" The smile disappeared from her face. "Why glad?" He began wiping off the table. In fact, Sam hadn't really planned children so soon. The plans were quite different, but as it happened, he couldn't answer the girl differently. During her pregnancy, Anna had been on the maternity ward twice, which meant she had sick leave. "Sam, please get a job, maybe a temporary one." "I'm going to go on maternity leave. What are we going to live on?" she asked him. "I'm looking," he answered her. Anna pressed her lips, went to the kitchen. She realized that if her husband was looking for something, he would have found it long ago. Against this background, they began to quarrel, and she was in such a state. When at work, the director offered to take another part-time job. The girl did not refuse. She realized that now, before the birth, she had to do everything. Buy a crib, a stroller, some things for the child, because then nothing would be enough. "Sam, please, wash the dishes and floors today, and also load the washing machine." Anna gave her tasks when she left for work. When she came back in the evening, nothing had been done as she had asked. "Sam, I told you," she looked at him. "Oh, you know I've been so wrapped up I've forgotten everything," he answered her. What were you doing?" The girl didn't understand. It was already hard for her to walk with a big belly. "Well, load the machine yourself. It's not hard to do," her husband told her. Anna went and did everything herself. "Natalie, can I come to your place?" She called her friend one day. "Of course, why do you ask?" She was always happy to see her. "I'll be there soon," Anna said quickly and hung up. "So, friend, when's the baby due?" Natalie met her at the door. 8 weeks to go," Anna said. They went to the kitchen and sat down at the table. Natalie poured the tea and took out the cake she'd bought after work today. "I can't live like this anymore. I'm fed up. He lies on the couch all the time, does nothing," the girl complained. "Listen, you don't even have to say that to me. I warned you about it long ago." Natalie rolled her eyes. She knew that it would turn out that way. "What do I do now? What do I do?" Anna looked at her stomach. "Give birth and run away from that asshole," Natalie told her. But Anna couldn't do that. She was nervous about her husband, but she loved him. She went to the hospital so that no mishaps would happen. She gave birth to a son exactly on the date that was set for her. Anna called her husband. but he didn't answer for some reason. She thought that maybe Sam was doing something or had a surprise for her, so she texted him. But after all the time she spent in the hospital before discharge, Sam never showed up. She was met at the discharge by a friend. "Where is your husband?" she asked Anna as she left the building. "I'd like to know that myself," was the sad girl. They got into a cab and drove home. "Shit," stretched the new mom when she entered the room where the nursery was supposed to be. "What are you doing?" Natalie shouted from the hallway. "I thought he was getting ready, buying diapers, getting the crib ready." Anna almost cried. Natalie entered the same place where her friend was standing and saw that everything was still in boxes. "I warned you," her friend told her once again. "Where is it?" Anna didn't understand. "You should know better," Natalie shrugged. The wife dialed her husband's number again, but this time the subscriber's phone was out of range. She looked at the messages she'd sent him. It seemed they just hadn't been read. Maybe something had happened to him, she suggested. What could have happened to him? He was probably on vacation somewhere with his friends. Natalie was sure of it. They put the baby in the stroller, which stood in the corridor, and began to assemble the crib, the table, and everything else. "Yes, you have a great man at home," said her friend when they were finished. "Nothing. Do not tell me." The girl fed Michael. The spouses continued to be spouses, but Sam never showed up at home. Anna wanted to ring all the bells, and when she was about to file a missing persons report for her husband, he showed up. A happy, tanned man walked into the apartment. "Where have you been?" His wife jumped on him. "Anna, no need to be nervous. I'll tell you everything," Sam spoke calmly. They went to the room where their son was sleeping. Sam walked over and looked at him. "Is nothing ticking?" She asked him a question. "Calm down, I'll explain everything now," he said. "I was applying for a job here, and I met this great guy." "And who is this guy?" Anna wondered who he had traded her and her son for. "His name is Mickey, and he told me a lot of stories about things I'd like to do." The young man was building sandcastles again. "Well, I'm waiting for those stories." Anna couldn't stand it. "That afternoon I went to visit them. Mickey wanted me to meet his wife Sarah, and while we were there I learned a lot," Sam said with a smart look. After these words he got up, went to the kitchen, made tea for himself and his wife, and brought it into the room. "You've got a vague story." She didn't understand him. "Look, so Sarah, she works as a realtor, sells, buys, everything related to real estate." Sam waved his hands. "Okay, next." Anna looked over to see if the baby was awake. "So, they told me that in Turkey you can buy cheap housing." He stopped talking and looked at his wife. "I don't understand." She saw that he was waiting for her approval or something else, but the girl really couldn't understand what her husband was saying to her. "Let's buy an apartment and rent it out." He sat down with her. "What? Are you out of your mind?" She got up and started walking around the room. "Anna, but I'm asking you, I'm telling you, it's a profitable business. We'll rent an apartment there, get income, and sit at home, do nothing," he said in a pleading voice. "Is that what your Mickey and Sarah taught you?" She wondered. "I'm telling you, it's a thing." He was quite sure of it himself. "Well, I don't know. Where are we going to get the money?" She turned and looked him in the eye. "Sell the apartment." The answer came out of his mouth as if it were a matter of course. "I mean, we'll sell the apartment here to buy an apartment in Turkey to rent out. Is that it?" She clarified with him. "Yes," he confirmed. "Well, where are we going to live?" That was the question. "We'll rent," Sam said. "I don't understand your logic." She saw that Michael was awake, and she came over and took him in her arms. "What logic? It is cheaper to rent here than in Turkey. A little time will pass. We can afford to buy an apartment." He was ready to persuade her by any means. Anna herself does not know how, but agreed to this adventure. Mickey and Sarah, whom Sam considered close friends, had helped him sell the apartment and find a cheaper place to rent. Now the husband, wife and child were living in a small one-room apartment on the outskirts of the city. With the apartment in Turkey, too, everything was solved quickly, and now, as Anna thought, she and Mickey were the happy owners of the living space abroad. The tenants were found quickly, and they paid good money. But since Anna had no income now, it was just enough to make ends meet. Sam was always missing. He wasn't home during the day, and sometimes he didn't show up at night. Anna knew she had to get a job, but the baby was only a year old, so she couldn't afford it. "Where do you go all the time?" Anna asked her husband. "You know, Mickey and Sarah are talking," he started. "I don't care what your Mickey and Sarah say. I care about our family. We have a baby, and we don't have enough money for anything. Look at him. He's wearing things that he hasn't worn in a long time." She pointed at Michael. "Wait, my dear, not everything is not so fast. It will get better later. We will have everything," he promised. Finally, when her son was a year and a half old, he could go to daycare, and she could go to work. Now, when she began to receive a salary, money was enough for everything. Anna was happy about it, and again put on rose-colored glasses on her eyes. "Anna, why are you so stupid?" Natalie used to tell her when they were dating. "I just thought I was wrong then," she told her. "What do you mean? You're working like hell, and he's sitting at home, doing nothing, and you're doing fine." Natalie didn't recognize her friend as she had been a few years ago, and as she was now, together with Sam. "You'll see, we'll be fine," she repeated her husband's words. Natalie waved her off, though she didn't believe in it, but she didn't want to dissuade her. Now they met very rarely, so they did not want to spoil these meetings, so most of the time Natalie was silent. "Let's try to take out a mortgage," Sam suggested at home that evening. "What mortgage?" Once again he surprised her with his stupid suggestion. "But we have to live somewhere. Let's buy an apartment," her husband asked her. And Anna went back to his persuasion. And here they are already sitting in the bank and consider options. The girl thought about everything. According to her calculations, if you pay for the mortgage, it will be almost the same as renting an apartment. The apartment was bought. Now the family moved into almost their own apartment. "Anna, come over. We're having a party tonight," Natalie called her. "I can't. I have to work," she answered. Anna had recently taken on another part-time job, and now she came to work very early and left very late. Her father drove the child to the daycare center and picked him up. She was tired, but she couldn't do anything. She wanted to pay off the loan as soon as possible. "I can't be a mom anymore," Sam told her one day. "What do you mean?" She didn't understand him. "I lie with him all day long, feed him breakfast, cook dinner, wipe the floors, and all this is your job," he told her. "And what is your work?" She didn't understand. "How and what? I do not bring money into the house. Unlike you, I'm home all day." He seemed proud of the fact that he had those pennies coming in. "Sam, I don't understand you. I do everything for our family. I work, I pay the loan, but you only make claims and you don't do anything." That was the first time she told him that. When Michael was 3 years old, Sam and Anna had their first fight. "I'm tired. Don't you understand?" she shouted to her husband. "What's in it for me? Learn to earn properly, and you will not be tired," he told her. "Fuck you." She slammed the door and went to Natalie's. Of course her son was with her. "Have you thought about divorcing him?" a friend told her. "Oh, Natalie, don't start yet. I'm on edge," she asked her. "Okay, it's your problem," agreed with her girl. After a few hours, when Anna calmed down, she and the child returned home. "So, where were you? Where was she? Looking for a new boyfriend?" Sam started from the doorstep. "Please, I don't want to fight," she said. "Please." He went to sleep in the other room. In the morning, Anna realized that she would have to drive her son herself, so she quickly made breakfast, fed Michael. They ran to kindergarten, and then she came to work. The constant tardiness had taken its toll. "Anna, I'm going to take away those 2 half rates you took, because I see that you are not on time, the boss told her once. Please, I really need them, she begged him. No, I see that you are not coping, and the reports have become worse, and the work, so, from today you work on your 1 rate. He showed her a gesture that she is free and can go. She wanted to cry, but didn't want to do it here. In the evening she picked up Michael, and they went straight to Natalie's. Why not home? The girl asked them. I don't want to go there. Anna was telling the truth. I wonder where it is, that we'll be fine, that I love him so much. Her friend laughed at her. Stop it. She was ashamed to hear, because everyone had warned her, and she'd stood her ground. Sam had called her several times, but she hadn't answered or returned her calls. When they heard a knock on the door, they looked at each other. Is someone here for you? Natalie told her. Don't open it, she asked her. I can't. He'll kick the door in. Natalie went and opened it, and then she got punched in the face. Are you out of your mind? She shouted at him. What about you? Who are you hiding here? Why did you take so long to open the door? Samu's eyes were so angry, you could be frightened just by the sight of them. Michael cried. Anna stood up. Sam, she wanted to say something to him. There you go. Sam hit her, too. We're getting a divorce, she cried, sat down on a chair. That's what I came to tell you. He clenched his fists, jowls running down his face. No one else said anything to anyone else. The young man just slammed the doors and left that apartment. What am I supposed to do now? Anna looked at her friend. What do you mean? She held her cheek, which was still burning. What should I do in this situation? The friends had many questions for each other. Oh, woe is me, divorce him and fuck him, and never remember again. Thank Michael for making you a great guy. She stroked the head of the boy who was lurking in the corner. Can I stay with you tonight? The mother also came to her son. Of course, stay. What talk? In the morning, Anna took Michael to kindergarten and herself called at work, excused herself. She wanted to clear things up with her husband. Sam, she went into the apartment, but no one answered her. The girl went through all the rooms. Her husband was not at home. Interesting, she said, and dialed his number, but no one answered the phone either. Then she gathered all the documents, went to the magistrate's court, and wrote a petition for divorce. To be honest, she had thoughts in her head that Sam would find out about it and come back, but it didn't happen. As time passed, a notice arrived in the mail that they were divorced. This was her second divorce, not at all happy about it. In the evening, when Michael was already asleep, Anna sat in the kitchen and thought about how to live her life further, where Sam she does not know. She cannot pay for the apartment. And then the thought struck her. They have an apartment in Turkey, which they bought in marriage. What if you go and file for division of property? They will share both the mortgage payments and the apartment in another country. The next day, with these thoughts, she went to her friend to help her with this issue. You know, I'm not good at this, Natalie told her right away. After going to a few more places, she decided to look for the documents at home. She had seen Sam making photocopies to send somewhere. What was this? She held the folder of papers in her hands and read them. She couldn't get to it. The topmost document was a deed of gift in which Sam's mother gave him an apartment in Turkey. At this point, she called Sam again, who finally answered, but only laughed at her. At that moment, Anna realized that she could not solve anything with this man. Nothing touched him, not even a child, let alone her. I don't understand. She began to leaf through the rest of the book. It turned out that Sarah had helped to pull off a scheme that was so convincing. The apartment was originally registered to her husband's mother, and afterward, she formalized the gift to her son. What a twist! Natalie laughed when Anna told her everything. Why are you laughing? It's not funny at all, Anna cried into the phone. It's not funny to you, but it's funny to me, because I saw your husband at first sight, that he is a scoundrel. Her friend stood next to her. What should I do now? Anna asked this question over and over again. Nothing. Go on with your life, you'll manage on your own, was the only advice from Natalie. Yes, life went on. At some moments Anna thought that if she didn't have a child, she would probably do something to herself. Now they were living on debt alone, and there was no way to do anything. "Mummy, are you tired?" Michael came up to her sometimes. "Sonny, I'm going to sleep a little, and then I'll make you dinner," she told him. Anna took part-time jobs wherever she could. She washed floors, filled out paperwork. Since she had an education, in addition to work, now she also took clients at home. But there was still not enough money for anything. She just wanted to quit everything and go on vacation. Once with Natalie, they sat in a cafe. It was fun. Anna had left Michael with a neighbor, just to relax. "Why don't we dance?" Her friend suggested it. "What are you doing?" Anna looked around. Yes, someone was dancing, but most people were sitting at tables. "Come on, stop being shy," pulled her friend by the hand. Rhythmic music started to play, and the girls began to move to the beat. "Girls, you guys are cool," they heard from the side. Standing next to them were the guys who had just walked in. "You are too," Natalie answered them with a laugh. After one song, they returned to the table, pouring into glasses, laughing. Just then, the very young men approached them. "Can we sit down with you?" they asked. "Don't you have enough room?" Natalie was surprised. "No, we just want to meet such fun girls," the young people said. That's how Anna met John. That evening he took her home in a cab and their communication began. He came to visit her. They went out. Anna was surprised, but her son quickly accepted the man, which she did not expect, and in 6 months John and Anna began to live together. "And how you only then decided to come to us," often said Anna to her chosen one. "Apparently, it's fate," he answered her. "Good fate," she hugged him in the kitchen. Now it was easier, because John took half of the costs. He worked in a cab. At first, it was stressful for Anna, but soon she got used to it. "Listen, why don't we take out a car loan?" John once told her. "We already have so much debt," she wondered. "I work on the company car, so it comes out less, and if I had my own car, it would come out many times more," he said about the financial component. Well, if that's the only reason, she wondered. When they looked at the options, it wasn't that expensive, so the girl agreed. But it turned out that John was not officially employed, so he could not take a loan. Anna had to formalize it on himself. But she did not regret it, because the young man has never betrayed her. "So, when is the wedding?" Natalie asked her. Maybe there was no need for a wedding. Anna doubted that she already wanted to get married after 2 divorces. "Well, I don't know, a normal man." It seems that for once Natalie was not against the choice her friend had made. "He's not proposing, and I'm what?" Anna averted her eyes. "I see, so you need a hint," she laughed back. It seemed that life got better. The child reached out to the man. He also did not leave him without attention. Anna loved and was loved. In the evening, when they went to bed, she hugged her beloved and thought that it would always be so. Debts did not go anywhere, they only added. But John really, after buying a car, began to bring more to the family. It was happy. That's why when he was late at work or working double shifts, Anna never said anything to him. "I'll probably go out again tonight," John said in the evening. "Okay, have a good job." Anna kissed him and he left. "Do you trust him?" Natalie asked her once. "Of course, we've been together for almost 2 years. I know everything about him. He knows everything about me," Anna answered her. "Well, I don't know. The man works at night, drives who knows who." Natalie came to visit her friend today. "Why do you doubt him?" Anna, who was standing at the stove, turned to her. "I do not know. Handsome and interesting on his car. Why would not the other pay attention to him?" began to list the girl. "But if a man loves, he will be with you and will not betray," was sure of it Anna. Natalie loved her friend and didn't want her to have anything wrong. But after this conversation, Anna herself began to suspect something. Maybe she was imagining it, but she started checking John's cell phone, pockets she'd never even checked before washing, and everything else. "What are you always trying to find in there?" he asked her. "I don't know. What if you have another one?" she told him jokingly. "What other one?" The man was nervous when they had this conversation. Anna noticed this, so her suspicions only grew stronger. Somehow he'd left for work in the evening, and she decided to follow him. Of course, she wouldn't follow him where he went. But when he left and when he arrived, it was interesting. The girl waited until the hour when her shift was ending. She stood at the window and watched to see when her favorite would drive up. And he arrived. The headlights were off, but John didn't get out of the car. Anna looked out the window and waited for him to show up, but the man never did. So she threw on her coat, put on her boots, and went into the yard. Anna just decided to ask him why he didn't come out. Already in the entryway, it occurred to her that he did not want to disturb her and her son, because before she did not know what time he came, he announced to her the hour when he came. She ran out of the driveway, and as she walked to the car, she saw that her man was not alone. An intense pain appeared in her chest, and her head was all jumbled up. She couldn't believe he could do that. "So this is how you taxi at night?" She opened the door. "Anna, what are you doing here?" John was in the backseat with a girl. "I'm the one asking you, what are you doing here? And with whom?" She glared angrily at the couple. "Anna, do not start a scandal here. We'll talk at home." He quickly adjusted his clothes, got out of the car. "And what should I start with you? I've already seen everything. Thank you. Natalie, it was she who warned me," shouted the girl throughout the yard. "What did she warn you about?" "I didn't understand her." "About your infidelity," she explained. "Let's go home," he took her hand. "And is she going to sit there like that?" Anna nodded her head at the car. "I'll take her home later," the man told her. "No, she'll get out and get home on her own." The girl was so angry, she wanted to grab that girl by the hair and drag her to the ground. They were standing in the yard when John came back to the car, opened the door, helped the girl out, said something to her, and she went in. They went into the apartment in silence. "Is there anything you want to tell me? Maybe get out of it. Think of something." She spoke as if she was afraid of getting dirty with this man. "I'm not going to explain anything to you." He went into the room, took a gym bag, and started throwing things in it. "Is this how our life is going to end?" She stood in the doorway and couldn't believe that this was the end and it was really happening. "What did you want me to do now? What did you want me to do?" He didn't look her in the eye. "Yes, I had a different opinion of you." Anna cried tears like she had never had before. "Natalie, he's gone." She called her friend in the morning. "Who left?" She didn't understand. "John." Anna cried into the phone. "How did he leave? Why did he leave?" She pelted her with questions. "Tonight, I caught him with another girl in the car," Anna admitted, though it was very unpleasant. "Jesus, girlfriend, I'll be right there." Natalie hung up on her. Anna was crying in the kitchen when Michael got there, and again, he was hugging and feeling sorry for his mummy because he didn't want her to be upset. "You and I are going to be okay, son," she told him and hugged him. Anna had long ago filed for alimony, but her ex-husband paid her practically nothing and did not send her anything. Anna didn't know what to do. She now alone did not pull out any debts at all. Then she began to look for a job, not just a part-time job, but seriously to pay off all the loans. Anna had not met any men during this time, and she didn't want to meet any. "Hello, do you need workers?" She called one of the production plants, which needed a worker at night. Since they had to work at such a time, the pay was decent. Now, during the day, she went to her job. In the evening, she worked part-time, and at night, she went to a third job. She was very thin, exhausted, but there was nothing to do. "Oh, Anna, you've gotten yourself into trouble." Natalie looked at her. She had just met a man, and now she was happy. "Yes, but you have to survive," sighed Anna. "Why did you give him the car?" She didn't understand. That morning, indeed, when John had packed his things, he left the house, got into the car, and drove away. Only then Anna realized that she had taken a loan on herself, and the car was registered to him. But the amount there was not so large. For this she was not very upset. She thought more about the mortgage, which had no end. Now, with one income she had enough to pay for it, and the second salary went to her son. "Michael, where did you stay so long again?" his mother used to say to him when he was in 7th grade. Since there was no man's hand in the family, and also the mother was constantly absent, the boy grew up on his own. He was already friends with girls. He came whenever he wanted. He had some weird friends too. "Do you realize that you're ruining your life?" Sat down in the hours when Anna was home to talk to the child. "Where were you before, when I needed your upbringing?" He sassed her back. And again she cried, and again these tears were from a man, only now from the most native. At her new job, Anna met Betty, who quickly gained her trust, and they became friends. "Why do you feel sorry for your ex-boyfriend?" Betty told her. "Call him and tell him that he owes you for the child. He didn't raise him. He didn't see him. Why do you have to do everything on your own?" That's what she used to say to her when she came to visit. "We have not communicated with him for so many years. How can I call him now? I don't even know his phone number," Anna replied. "It's okay. Look in social networks. Find him, right, after all," advised all the same Betty. "Oh, Betty, you know how hard it is for me to take such steps," Anna answered her. "Nothing, life will make you take any steps." The new acquaintance was sure. In the evening, when she left, Anna really first tried to dial the phone number she had, but the phone was blocked. Then she sat down at her computer and started searching for Samu on social media. When she saw him, she couldn't believe her eyes. He was standing against a backdrop of palm trees, and it was obvious he wasn't there vacationing. It took her a long time to work up the courage to write, but she did, because they have a child together. "Hi, ex-husband," was her first message. About 10 minutes later, Sam replied. "I thought you'd forgotten about me," he texted back. "I need your help." She wanted no preamble, nothing more. "And what do you want from me?" "I pay you alimony. What else?" He didn't understand. "Can I call you? Text me your number," she asked him. When the man sent her the numbers, she realized that he probably lived in Turkey now, because the country code was the same. "Hello," she told him again when he picked up the phone. "Hello." He waited to see what she would tell him. "Sam, I need your help. I've done so much over the years to close all your debts," Anna said, with tears running down her cheeks. "Why are they my debts? As an honest man, I left you the apartment, and even paid for it for some time half," he began to explain to her. "Yes, you as an honest man, when we sold my apartment, bought a place for yourself, and wrote everything down on your mother." She could not help but poke him with it. "All right, enough ranting. Tell me what you want." Anna knew that if he wasn't satisfied, he might just hang up on her. "I just need the money," she said at the end. "And I just won't give it to you," he replied. Which was to be expected, Anna said, and hung up. She didn't want to talk to the man who had betrayed her, abandoned her, and now he was doing the same thing he had done then. "Natalie, how are you?" She called an old friend. "Finally, I wasn't expecting your call," she said. "Would you like to go on vacation with me?" Anna asked her. "Where to?" Natalie asked. Anna realized that she didn't have any extra money, but she didn't want to think about it. Why did her husband get everything, and she got nothing? Why couldn't she have a vacation? Perhaps she had hoped to meet him there, because she had chosen the resort where Sam was at that time. But she hadn't told Natalie that. "I don't know. I have to take a vacation at work, and the vouchers aren't cheap," Natalie began to say. "You can get it in installments," Anna told her. Oh, you have everything. Then on credit, then in installments. Natalie did not like it. 3 months later, the girls were already basking in the Turkish sun near the sea, which Anna loved so much. Is everything okay? Asked her friend, because Anna every day took her to some streets and somewhere else. Why do you ask? She didn't understand. Because we go to some strange places instead of sunbathing on the beach. You're taking me to all sorts of neighborhoods. She stood up and folded her arms across her chest. If I tell you the truth, you'll get mad at me, Anna said. Tell me. Natalie stopped. She didn't understand what truth her friend could have in Turkey. And then Anna told her about Sam, that he was here and she wanted to meet him. What are you, stupid? One time wasn't enough for you. You're making a second attempt, laughed her friend. I just want to look him in the eye, Anna said. That's your business. Natalie waved her hand and went the other way. Anna didn't stand still and followed her. They didn't go anywhere else, and they weren't looking for anyone else. But Sam and Anna did meet. And let's go to the store. They say the prices are much cheaper here. Natalie was not in the mood for the sea in the morning, because it was raining. Good, her friend agreed with her. They went outside. It was pouring from the sky like a bucket, but it didn't bother them. They were given umbrellas at the reception. It's warm. Anna put her hand out from under the umbrella. You bet, laughed her friend. They came to a big supermarket, and they went in different directions. Who would have told me what it was? Anna said to herself. At that moment, she was looking at a gizmo. Naturally, she thought that no one here understood her. I can tell you, a man came up to her. He spoke good English. Save. She didn't finish. When she looked up, her ex-husband was standing in front of her. Anna, how are you? He fidgeted. It was obvious that he didn't want and didn't expect this meeting. She tried to speak casually so that he wouldn't notice her excitement. Is she here too? He looked between the shelves. Yes. Anna looked back as well. Well, as you can see, I'm fine. This is my store. Okay. Come on, choose what you need, and I do not have time. He gave her in her hands the very thing, turned around and went. Where are you going to talk? She realized that their meeting was useless. Anna, why are you shouting? A friend came running. I just met him. She looked in the direction the man had just gone. Leave it and calm down already. Natalie didn't understand what this woman wanted. Why are things so unfair in life? She couldn't understand. Let's go. Natalie wanted to get her out of there quickly, because she realized that now she might get hysterical. After a while, when they were already in the hotel, that was all they talked about. They never saw Sam again, although Anna visited the store a couple more times. On the last day of their vacation, Natalie didn't let her friend go anywhere. We need to get away. When are we ever going to be here again? She told her. Yes, I agree, she said. The friends were returning home to their homeland. Thank you for your support. Anna was grateful. It's okay. Natalie kissed her on the cheek and hugged her tightly. At home, Anna found the house a complete mess. She realized that her son had brought guests again. Michael was lying in the room on the bed. When his mother leaned over, she smelled the strong odor of alcohol. What is it? She shouted. Ma, do not shout, head, and without its splits, moaned the guy. Michael, how long can this go on? And not iron. She could not understand why her son grew up like this. No one in their family abused. Yes, she wasn't home often, and the boy was left alone. But in the hours and days that they were together, she did everything for him. Why he was like that? As much as he needed to, he got up and went to the bathroom, tears forming in the woman's eyes again. She understood that this behavior would not lead to good things. Why are you being rude to me? She shouted at him through the door. Leave me alone. That was the guy's favorite word right now. Anna continued to work. The debts never ended. Often the woman cried alone in the kitchen. She did not understand why her life had turned out this way. Everything was fine. How could she come to this? You've got to meet a man, Betty admonished her at work. Oh, you know they're no good. Anna waved her off. Michael's got to get a grip or it's gonna get worse, she hinted. And what do you think? That now a man will come and listen to him, she laughed. Not listen, but at least there will be someone to ask or consult, stood on his friend. Anna didn't want to talk about it. She was tired all the same, but there was no one to pity. Michael graduated from high school. His mother thought that now he would enter, settle down, but she was wrong. Why don't you apply anywhere? She asked him. I don't want to, he snorted back. Just like his father, he was lazy, his mother said for the first time. Yeah, but look how he lives now. And how we do, he turned the monitor to her. What? How did you find it? She realized that her son was purposefully looking for Sam. It doesn't matter how I found it, but the fact that he texted me, that's already offensive. He jabbed his finger. Anna read what her ex-husband had written. After the son said hello to him and said he wanted to communicate, the father replied that he was not his son and would not communicate. Yes, that's his style, smiled the woman. She felt bad for her son. After that, it was like Michael was possessed by a demon. He went out day and night, took home unknown people. No matter what his mother did or said, he wouldn't stop. Hello. She got a call from a number she didn't recognize. Good evening. She looked at the clock that hung on the wall. It was about 12 o'clock at night. Your son has been in an accident. You need to come, the man said. Anna's heart beat faster. She was very worried. The woman grabbed her coat, put it on right over the robe, then boots, purse, ran out into the street. What? Where to? The thoughts in her head were confused. She was imagining horrible pictures that were connected with the accident. I have a son here. She was disheveled when she approached the window of the duty officer. Come on in. He marked her in the register. She ran into the office. Anna herself didn't know what she wanted to see there. There was a man sitting behind the desk. You called me about my son. She sat down in a chair. The woman was so nervous she was ready to faint. Yes, he started going through the papers on the desk. Is he alive? That was the question she was afraid to ask. Yes, he never lifted his head from the desk. Thank God, she exhaled. It wasn't a matter of whether he was alive or dead. Finally, the organ worker pulled out and placed the right sheet in front of her. Anna stared at the small slanted lines. Everything was blurring in her eyes. She couldn't read anything. What is it? She looked at the man in uniform confusedly. A confession, he answered calmly. Tell me normally, why are you speaking in riddles? The woman begged. The guys were doing the wrong thing. By car, they decided to transport something forbidden to another area. He raised an eyebrow. What? She listened to the policeman. Drugs, the man said quietly. I don't understand. What does the accident and drugs have to do with it? Was 100 questions for Anna. They hid them in the tires. They didn't want to get caught. But when they left the gas station, something went wrong. And at the intersection, they collided with another car. The impact was not strong, but the car was thrown into the ditch and overturned. Officers immediately arrived on the scene there and found everything. Was calm as a boa constrictor, the man behind the desk. And what? Michael said it was all his. The mother didn't believe it. Yes, as you can see, the confession in front of you. He tapped the pen on the sheet. That can't be, she cried. As you can see, it can. The man put his hands together. Now Anna was waiting for the trial. She needed to hire a lawyer for her son, but there was no money. She took out a loan again to accomplish what she wanted. The lawyer was hired. He zealously defended the boy. And instead of a big sentence, he got the bare minimum. Thank you, Anna said to the man afterward. I don't know. There's no fixing him. He'll get out now and go back to his old ways. The lawyer was sure of it. I'll try not to. Tears welled up in my eyes. Anna, I just found out. Natalie came to see her. I'm so ashamed. They went into the kitchen. How such a good boy could grow up to be like that, I didn't understand. Are you judging me? Anna looked up at her. Why would you? They sat drinking tea. After Michael was taken away, Anna was left all alone. In the hours when she wasn't working, she sat on the sofa, opened her album, and just cried. Why did I have to do all this? She asked herself. But she couldn't relax, her debts had to be paid. Michael wrote letters in which he assured his mother that he would never do this again, thanking her for everything. Anna read them, smiled. She believed her boy. Time passed. The young man was released. He had lost weight. He was stooped. He didn't look like his old self at all. Hello, his mother greeted him. Hello, he hugged her. They went home, and the table was already set. The mother had been waiting for her son and knew he wants something delicious. Where are you going? The woman was surprised after they arrived home. Her son had eaten, changed his clothes, and was about to go out. I have things to do, he turned to her. What business? You just got here. She couldn't understand. Don't ask. He opened the door and went out. Don't you think it's strange? Natalie told her when she called her. I don't know what to think. Anna was upset. Maybe that lawyer would be right, her friend said carefully so as not to offend. If that happens, I won't help at all, the woman cried. Could you? Natalie wasn't sure. I don't know. I have so many credits, debts, but no one thinks about it. Everyone rides on me, she said through sobs. Do you want me to come? Natalie asked. I don't know. And it was true, because she just wanted to be alone, but she could use some support. The friends said goodbye, and Anna went to the kitchen. Her condition was such that she felt as if she were going to go to the noose. Her son didn't return until morning. The next day, the woman went to work. She thought that she would come back, and Michael would be already in the apartment, but in the evening he was not there. Anna called him. Who he was friends with now she didn't know. He came back a week later. Michael, where have you been? I wanted to report you missing. She hugged him in the hallway. Mother, I understand that you're worried, but I've grown up a long time ago. He took her away from him and went to his room. Anna calmed down. She sat down at her computer. She decided to distract herself. When she entered the mail, she saw a letter. It was not written in English. Look what I got today. She showed it to her friend the next day. It's a scam. Everyone gets one now, Natalie told her. What does it say? Anna was curious. Come, you have received the inheritance, the friend said and smiled. Maybe, really, I could use the money. It was obvious that Anna was the person who was falling for the tricks of swindlers. God, how old are you? You still believe in fairy tales. Natalie did not hide the fact that she was surprised at her friend's naivety. A month later, she received another letter, which Anna showed to Betty. So write back, she advised. Natalie said she couldn't do that. Anna looked at the paper, even though she didn't understand it. No one would punch you in the head for writing. Betty was the opposite of Natalie. Okay, the woman nodded, tucking the letter into her pocket. She sat staring at the monitor for a long time that evening, but she never decided to write anything. When Michael was away from home for about a month, his mother realized that he was in trouble again, because he kept calling and asking for money. As she thought, after a while the guy was again in custody. It was a different case than the last one, so he might not get away with it. Natalie, give me the number of a lawyer, she asked her friend for help again. Now, she hesitated, then dictated the numbers. Her friend, Anna, called her again when she talked to the man. What? She could hear the indignation or surprise in Anna's voice. Do you know how much he charges for his services? She was more shocked and surprised. So, what? You don't want to go to jail, you pay. And what else could she say? Okay, thank you. Hung up the phone friend. Now the woman sat in the kitchen and thought about where she could get so much money. Another loan she just can't afford. What other options are there? Betty, come to me, she dialed her number. Well, she was always happy to be invited. I thought I'd take this, Anna told her as she opened the door. I didn't get it. Betty hadn't thought of anything when she got to the floor, so she was now flapping her eyes. Well, the letter, remember, in English, Anna reminded her. Oh, you mean that? It was so long overdue. She followed her friend into the room. Together, they sat down at the table and began to look at what was in the mail. As it turned out, the letter came again. Look, if they are scammers, they often write the same thing to you, Etty said. She opened the reply window and wrote that she was willing to make contact. After that, she immediately received the next email, which had a phone number to contact. Let's call, the friend said confidently. And how will I communicate? Because I don't know any languages. They understand where they write. Betty took the phone and dialed the number herself. It started with a greeting. They spoke in English, but with a very big accent. Betty put it on speakerphone. The man was saying that Sam, Anna's ex-husband, had died. He had had an accident. He had written a will giving everything to her, but only after his last request was fulfilled. That can't be. The woman's eyes were wide open. Why can't it? You yourself told me that everything is fine there. Her friend was as surprised as Anna. And what? You think we should go? She was puzzled. Definitely, yes. Betty nodded her head. Well, even if the divorce, what prevents me to relax on the seashore, she said. Now Ahmet did not even have to make a loan and installments. Betty agreed to lend her friend money. Thank you. The woman was grateful to her. Hi, girlfriend. Natalie came to her a few days after all these events. You have no idea what happened. Anna met her and immediately took her into the kitchen to tell her everything. Navy, but if you want to rest, then why not go? Did not know what to say, because everything was already done. Well, tell me, and how they divorced me, sat across from her friend and looked into her eyes. I don't know, don't ask. Natalie realized that her friend was stubborn. What she wanted to do, she couldn't be persuaded. Whatever, Anna felt hurt that her friend was treating her like this. In a few days she had to pack her things to fly to the country that had once brought her happiness. Anna did not take a lot of things with her. She was only going for a few days, so she did not need them. The first thing she did after check-in was to go to the specified address. There she was already waited for, met, and led to the office. Do you speak English? The man sitting behind the desk asked her at once. It was an elderly man. He was wearing a good suit. He looked at Anna with kind eyes. No, she would not deceive anyone. All right, we'll make a deal sometime, he twisted his words. Anna waited, while he leisurely took out some folders and spread them on the table. As I told you, your husband was killed in an accident. This man was very thoughtful, because he had done everything he could to get you here while he was still alive. His organs he ordered to be donated, but the rest, that's another story. He finally finished arranging all the folders on the table. Anna looked at him and couldn't believe that this man was talking about Sam now, thought out, ordered. It didn't seem to be working. What's the story? She didn't understand much. Your husband left you not so little, but you will get it all only after you take his remains to your homeland and bury them where he was born, the man said. Now they were using an electronic translator. It made more sense. What remains? She looked at him. Sam, he kept his gaze on her too. If that's all, I agree, she thought. Her ex-husband was a confused man and still is. Now you and I will sign the documents, and you can realize the wish of her husband. He moved to the chair that was next to the girl. She signed many different papers. After that, she took the address where she should have picked up everything she needed to move, said goodbye, and left. Today, she didn't want to go anywhere else. She just went to the beach. There she decided to think about what and how. She imagined that she would take an urn with the ashes and take it with her, as she had seen in many movies. The next day, Anna went to the address. It was a large building, like a bank or a hospital. It was not clear to her. Let's go through. When the woman showed the papers, the specialist led her. They walked down a long corridor. After that, they entered a small room. There, a young man opened a box in which there was a bag. "Where is the urn?" Anna looked at him. Not understanding, he waved his hands in front of her face. Well, she waited until everything was packed, signed a couple of papers, and went to the hotel. There, the woman found nothing else to do but put everything in her suitcase. It was in a closet, so Anna was very scared to be in that room. There were still 2 more days of her stay here. Have a safe trip. As they were escorted to the bus, the woman sniffed to see if anything smelled from her suitcase, but all was well. She was standing at the security check when one of the customs officers approached her. He said something, but she didn't understand. She only realized that he was calling her somewhere. Good afternoon. She was led into a small room where a man, English or not, was sitting. Anna could not understand. The good thing was that he spoke her language. "Why was I brought here?" she asked. "We found something strange in your suitcase." He indicated with his hand for her to put it on the table. Anna was afraid of what they would think of her when they saw what she was carrying. The suitcase was open. The customs officials stood looking, unable to figure out what it was. When it went through the X-ray, it was clear that inside were a couple dresses, personal hygiene equipment, and a large opaque something. "It's my ex-husband's bones." The woman admitted she didn't want to have the package opened. "What?" The man looked at her. "Here." She handed them all the documents. After reading them, the woman was taken to another office, where they also looked at the papers, then to the third office, where they issued a special certificate. "They gave you a ticket because you didn't notify anyone about it," Jacob explained to her, and they had gotten to know each other during the time they had been walking around. Good. She took everything he served her. "You need to pay for it," he advised her. "Thank you for everything." She really was grateful that he spoke English and that he was helping her. "You're welcome." Anna did everything the man told her to do. After that, he asked her to exchange phone numbers, and she flew back to her place in the USA. "Betty, come over." She called the one who talked her into doing all this. "Could you wait a couple of hours?" she asked. She had to finish her work. Of course, before Betty arrived, Anna went to the train station and bought 2 tickets for herself and a friend to go to the place where Sam used to live. Then, when she met her friend, she agreed to help with that too. "That's quite a story," the woman said when she heard the story. "I can't believe I did it myself," Anna laughed. They drove to the right place. There they had to walk a little more. After that, they found Samu's mother's grave, and it was necessary to bury him there. The girls didn't dig a deep grave. They just dug up the package, and that was the end of it. If it's not all a hoax, and I didn't bring something forbidden to the US, which will be taken away here, the money should come. I'll put a monument, Anna said, looking at the grave. "Let's go already." It was getting dark outside. I didn't want to stay at the cemetery. "Okay. You don't come to us, Sam." The rest the woman said to herself. Now she was at home again, and she contacted the notary, but there was no answer from him. The phone beeped. Anna stood up, picked it up. It was a message from Jacob. "Hi, bone carrier." He wrote to her with a funny smiley face at the end. "And I thought you wouldn't write." She was glad for the message. "My contract is up in a couple months. Going to the US, write the address." That way he was suggesting a meeting, so Anna thought. Good, and a winking smiley face at the end from her. She was glad that the man was communicating with her, probably liked her as much as she liked him. There was still no word from the notary, but Jacob wrote non-stop. Anna reread each message several times. She was already in love with this man, even though they hadn't spoken face to face. "I'll fly back tomorrow," she texted 2 months later. By now, Anna had stopped waiting for any money. She had taken out a loan to pay back her debt to Betty and to pay her lawyer. Waiting, they had already talked about her welcoming him home with the borscht Jacob missed so much. Another Alfonso. Natalie snickered as they talked on the phone. Why would you say that about a man you never met? Anna was hurt again, just as she'd been all those other times. She'd seen him, believed he wouldn't turn out like the others. I have never been wrong yet, laughed her friend into the phone. And you know, Let and Alfonso, with me and take that nothing to take, will realize that and leave, agreed Anna. She was already so tired of loneliness that she agreed to meet with anyone. So why did you call? Natalie remembered that they were talking about Anna's new beau. I wanted you to meet an Alfonso, Anna said wryly. Okay, you'll meet him today, spend some time together, and then you'll introduce him. Natalie had no time today. Agreed, stood the woman at the stove and stirred borscht. When the time was approaching dinner time, there was a knock on the door, a heart beat with excitement somewhere in her throat. She went to open the door. Hello, smuggler. Jacob came in, flowers in his hands. She took the flowers from him and went to put them in a vase. It had been ages since anyone had given her anything, much less bouquets. The man walked straight into the kitchen, from where such aromas were coming from that he couldn't resist. Pouring. She took a plate in her hand. Of course, he even clamored how much he wanted to taste the homemade borscht. Here, she set the plate in front of him. Thank you for not refusing. He began to eat. It's all so strange, just arrived and already here, sitting at the table and eating. She also sat down. Anna, I can't talk or I'll bite my tongue off. He was enjoying himself. I have more pie. She put it on the table. When the man had had enough, he suggested the woman take a walk. They wandered around the city, looking at shop windows. Anna told him about her life and he about his. She remembered that she'd done the same thing with Sam once before. Only last time she'd been scared to think about where he'd sleep, and today she wanted to. I'm staying at a hotel near your house. It's like he read her mind. What? I thought you were staying at my place, she said with disappointment. I would have liked to, but I didn't know how you'd take it, he laughed. It's fine, not 15 years old anymore. Here Sam never thought how it would be for her. After that thought, she realized that she was constantly comparing Jacob and Sam. Okay, that's it for now, we'll see later. He took her hand, it felt good. Tomorrow I'll introduce you to my friend, she said, and it looked like she'd take him to see him. Good, he agreed with her on everything. They went back to her house. Do you have a son? He asked her from the room while she was preparing tea in the kitchen. Yes, startled Anna, because she hadn't told him anything about him and didn't want to yet. She came into the room and caught Jacob looking through a photo album that she herself had not put away. Where is he now? The man asked. I don't want to talk about it yet. She averted her eyes. If you don't want to, we won't. Jacob took the teacup. As agreed, the next day they went to the restaurant where Natalie was waiting for them. She, as soon as she saw the man, showed her friend the class so he wouldn't see. This is Natalie, and this is Jacob. Anna introduced them as they approached the table. My pleasure. The woman spoke the truth. Likewise, they were seated. All that was left was to order. What was it that won you over my friend? Natalie wanted to know. You know, I've been working at customs for 20 years, but it's the first time I've seen corpses, or rather bones, being transported in a suitcase. He spoke as if he was telling a secret. Really? She looked at Anna, who blushed. Believe me, I saw it with my own eyes. He was still whispering. And what happened next? Natalie was curious. And Anna was tense at that moment because the money never came to her. Maybe it was true. Sam was up to something. They'd drugged the bag, and she'd smuggled it all in. But how do you admit that to Jacob? It's okay, she avoided answering. Okay, we'll get back to that, her friend promised her. They had a great time. When Jacob and Anna got home, The woman saw a message from Natalie. "It's a great choice, friend," she wrote. Anna smiled, pleased that she wasn't the only one charmed by the man. "Would you like to stay over?" she asked him that evening. "I don't mind." He put his arm around her and pulled her to him. So quick, she didn't mind the kiss. "I really like you," he said the words to her face. "And I like you." She waited for their lips to touch. And Jacob finally did. It felt like she was standing in an anthill, and the little ants were now spreading over her body. "You're mine," he told her, lifting her in his arms and laying her on the bed. "I don't mind," she smiled, "and let it be. If he's deceiving her, and it's not serious, she'll have a wonderful time in the company of the best man." Coffee? Anna heard it in the morning. It woke her up. Yes, she was pleasantly surprised. No one had ever brought her coffee in bed before. "Darling," he put a cup and saucer with a scone in front of her. Where did the pastries come from? She couldn't understand a thing. "They sell them on the first floor of your house. I noticed it yesterday." Jacob was wearing the same underwear. Anna admired him. "And you?" She looked at the plate. He lay down next to her and kissed her shoulder. Could it be true? She bit into the soft and still hot bun. It couldn't be truer. He kissed her again. "Jacob, I need to tell you something." She turned to him. "Are you married?" There was such sadness in his eyes. "No, I have a son on trial," she mumbled. "A lawyer?" The man asked immediately. "Yes, I've taken out a loan to hire one, but I'm afraid I'll have to pay again soon." Her eyes filled with tears. "Don't worry about that," Jacob told her. He leaned back on the pillow, thinking about something. Anna was afraid that she had scared the man away from her with those words. After coffee and a scone, the woman went to wash her face, and as she passed the computer, she saw that there were several unread emails. "Here it is, the mortgage, and also alimony," the woman muttered quietly. "What are you babbling about?" Jacob shouted from the room. "Nothing." She rolled down the window so he wouldn't see. She wanted to get dressed and run to the bank branch right now, but she pretended she wasn't in a hurry. "I'm off to work." She kissed Jacob, and he went outside with her. He had to pick up his things from the hotel. "Goodbye." He looked after her. Anna called to say she'd be late, but she was already standing in the doorway of the bank. Indeed, she had an impressive amount of money in her account. She didn't make any withdrawals and went to work. "Betty, hi," she called her friend. "So, you didn't come. They've been talking about that lately." "They came, you can imagine. Now I have enough for the lawyer and all the other debts. It was Jacob who brought me happiness," Anna said loudly. "Did he come?" Betty was surprised that he still doesn't know about it. Imagine, Anna couldn't be happy. In the evening, a hot welcome and the same dinner were waiting for her at home. Anna considered whether or not to tell Jacob about her inheritance, but she decided not to tell Jacob about her inheritance. Michael was convicted, and again, the lawyer did his best, so he didn't get much time. "Do you think he'll be like that?" Anna asked her favorite man. "When he gets out, I'll try to talk to him." Jacob was determined. "When are you going to work?" She was afraid of this question. She knew that Jacob had a contract with her again. "I fly out in a month," he hugged her. "I'll be waiting." She kissed him. "Of course you will, because a wife should wait for her husband." He pulled a ring out of his pocket. "You're the best." She took his hand. "Do you think Michael will mind if we get married without him?" He looked at the woman and smiled. "I think not." She was happy. For the first time in her life, she didn't have to run anywhere, earn something, give something away, worry about other people. Now she had someone who did all that for her. "Natalie, I'm getting married," she shouted into the phone. "I congratulate you." For the first time, her friend replied without teasing. "You have no idea how happy I am." Anna saw Jacob enter the room and walked over to him. They went to the registry office to get married before the man's flight and wrote the application. They were promised to be married in a week. Natalie and her husband and Betty. Here were all the friends who attended the cementing of the happy union. Bitterly, they shouted in the restaurant, though there were other people here. But Jacob and Anna didn't care about them.
Thank you for watching this video to the end. Subscribe to the channel. Like it, write comments if you like the story, and see you on the channel.